Hey, this is Tilden Moschetti, Altitude Syndication Founders Club. Earlier we did some talks about the different regulations under Regulation D. Regulation D are exemptions from registering a particular security from the SEC. Now, Reg A is similar. There is a registration process, but it's a much lower bar than, say, going public. So Reg A is a very viable and often used tool for syndicators to raise money. Most of the time, because of the time and expense involved in putting together a Reg A and getting it approved by the SEC, I tend to see it on pools or blind pools. But that said, it is a great mechanism. There are two different tiers of Reg A. There's Tier 1 and Tier 2. Now, Tier 1 is for raising up to $20 million, and Tier 2 is for raising up to $50 million. Now, why would you do a Tier 1 instead of a Tier 2? Because a Tier 2 is much more difficult, and there's a lot more that you need to disclose to the SEC in order for them to review the application. So, under Reg A, so you get that dollar amount, either $20 million or $50 million. What else can you do with it? So you can accept non-accredited investors. So the SEC has done the homework by making sure that your investment at least meets a minimum standard for what is required to be in an investment. It could be considered, well, maybe it's somewhat viable at least. They probably aren't going to do something that's not viable, probably not going to approve it. And they've also reviewed your disclosures. So you do need to make disclosures. That's the bulk of what you have to do in Reg A. And the SEC does review those, comment on them, and you may need to make revisions. So there are substantial amounts of disclosures that are made because you've got non-accredited investors. And the whole point of disclosures is to protect primarily those non-accredited investors. And then there is the issue of advertising. Great part about Reg A is you can advertise to your heart's content and still have non-accredited investors. Not only can you advertise, but you can advertise in advance of getting approval from the SEC. So you can put a billboard out on the freeway, you can fly that airplane with the banner towing it behind it. The only thing you got to be careful of is you do not take money until you've got that approval from the SEC. No money, do not take it. That would get you in trouble. But once that comes in, then you just follow what the rules are of taking that money, and you are off to the races in your syndication. So this is Tilden Moschetti, Altitude Syndication Founders Club. 3, 2, 1, liftoff.